Hello, it's Tournament in a TeaBreak with Ros Satar
and George Bellshaw.
And we're sounding a little bit somber. You want to know why? Because we've just finished day 2. We witnessed a pretty epic sort of ding-dong between David Goffin and Rafael Nadal. Nadal came into press super quick, which is not like him, and announced that his season was over. I think the words were, "I'm off." I don't think it came as a surprise to anybody, but your thoughts, George?
Yeah, it's obviously an incredibly sad way to end the year for him, but not a surprise at all, really, having seen him over the last month, really. I mean, since that Shanghai final, obviously then skipped Basel, withdrew from Paris. I mean, that second round match against Cuevas, or third round match rather, was, he looked completely wrong there. So to then get ready for this tournament that quickly was never going to be easy. I said on the show yesterday that I saw him practice, he looked... the movement wasn't awful, but he was restricted and missing a lot, and it showed today. I think he made more than 40 unforced errors, as did Goffin, by the way, who's another story. But yeah, I mean, it's sad, but no surprise. The right decision, absolutely. He shouldn't have been playing at all for me, but a gutsy effort.
I mean, it's a measure of the man that, he was sort of saying, I had a commitment to come here to give it my best shot. And I mean, we just touched on Goffin. I mean, the irony of the situation is he could have actually won it. I mean, it's interesting to think, what would he have done had he won it? Because, Goffin was, to be fair to our little plucky Belgian, he'd never taken a set off Nadal, so to take that first set, you could see the adrenaline coursing through his little veins. And how many double faults did you count?
I don't want to think about it, to be honest.
I think I ran out of fingers, toes, and everybody else's fingers and toes.
It was around 7 or 8 he finished on. But I mean, what was more astounding about the double fault number was just how many of them came at completely the wrong time. It was just.
Is there ever a right time to do a double fault?
There's a right time as the first point of the first game or whatever. That doesn't really matter, but so many of them were choky double faults, and if it wasn't a choky double fault, it was a choky forehand dumped into the net. It was, you could see the nerves. There was humps throughout for Goffin. I mean, to be fair to him, at the end, he's just kind of said, "It's the most special win of my career. It's the biggest win of my career." And you're kind of thinking, you've just beaten a guy with one leg, but it means a lot, doesn't it? I mean, it's his first world number 1 win. It's only, I think, his 3rd win over 25 matches against top 5 players. So it's obviously a really good feeling for him, even if it comes in those circumstances. But yeah, I actually thought Goffin played quite well, apart from the key moments. I know that probably sounds quite weird, but he had a good tactic coming out early. He really came out and hit it well and kind of pressured Nadal. Nadal
I mean, he came out really. I mean, I was very impressed at how he came out. In the same way, actually, we'll come to Dimitrov in a moment, but I think both of them just came out really, really hyped. But yeah, I mean, the proof will be in the pudding. I mean, obviously, there will still be. Have no fear, lovely listeners. There still will be a Spaniard in this draw. It's just going to be Carreño Busta to come in and finish off the last 2. But just a quick word before we move on to sort of Dimitrov's match. This group is now blown wide open. I mean, on one hand, I would say Federer is still very much the. I would say Federer is still very much the favourite, but on the other hand, there's glory there for the taking in the second group. So.
Absolutely, I think I tried to put this to Dominic Thiem earlier that Rafa's injury. Normally, if Thiem had lost that first match with Rafa to play, you're like, bye son, you're going home. But I said to Thiem, his injury surely opens the door a little wider to you, and while he wasn't interested in playing that game and answering that question seriously, it's a genuine point. This was a very, very, very genuine possibility that Nadal could go out, and as it has proven. But even if he didn't go out, he's nowhere near his best and wasn't going to compete. So he wasn't So it was still a really open match, and it's perhaps less important for Dimitrov to have beaten Thiem earlier. It's almost bad news for Dimitrov, if for anyone else, because obviously you've got Nadal to come, but got over the hump of beating Thiem, but now I don't know, it just feels suddenly like you've given renewed hope to people like Thiem that he knows he doesn't have to beat Nadal. Obviously Dimitrov doesn't have to play Nadal either, so it's not a complete disaster for him, but mentally I think Thiem will get a real boost from that more than any other player left there.
Yeah, because he will play Buster. Well, there you go, he does get a Spaniard. But for Thiem though, the bad news will be as if he loses to Buster.
Yeah, I mean, Carreño Buster's not been in great form either. I mean, if we're talking about Goffin choking, Carreño Buster choked his way out of this tournament pretty fantastically in the last few weeks of the season. Not to be too harsh if you're listening, but
because of course he does listen to us all the time. Me and my mate Pab. I mean, again, let's just touch on Dimitrov and Thiem. I mean, to me, Thiem looked really sluggish at the start, and just not so much out of sorts, but just not really at the races. What do you reckon?
Yeah, there were flashes of brilliance where he looked like he was going to suddenly ignite, but ultimately he's in poor form, and he kind of said at the end of the match it was better than the last few weeks, but it's still not where he was at the start of the season. He'll never admit it, but it is down to his scheduling. I'm certain of it. And now he's at that ranking. I think the time has come next season to really look at that and cut it.
Well, I mean, we asked him this at Cincinnati last year, and he just couldn't see why it was wrong to go and do the Polar Bear Classic in Alaska, in the middle of the grass court season. So, unless his coach actually sits him down and says, really, you want to be challenging at the slams and playing with the big boys, so you need to stop. I don't think he ever will. He's like a female JJ. He'll just play everything and everything.
Yeah, and to be fair to Thiem on his scheduling, you kind of say to a player, you want to peak at the right times of the season. The right time for Thiem is clay. So from his own perspective, he did peak at the clay season. He had a brilliant clay season. So
I just call him a female JJ.
I think he did, but it's like...
My apologies to Tia, it is late. I'm just thinking, wait a minute. I mean, I know he's very softly spoken, but bad Rosington. Okay, let's move on. So tomorrow, obviously, we have the return of Roger.
Yeah.
So our thoughts very quickly on that, as it is very late, and the people on the front desk will be like, where the hell is she? She needs to get on a shuttle bus to go back to the hotel.
Well, Zverev, to me, didn't play well enough to beat Federer in the first match. I don't think Federer played that well either, but you can't be making 40 unforced errors against Federer on an indoor hard court and expect to get anywhere. But I think Zverev will raise his game. I think it'll be close. I expect Federer to win it in 2, but 2 tight sets. Yeah, that's probably the way I see it going.
I think he's quite nervous. I think I picked him in 3 actually, but I think those nerves and those butterflies that Zverev had will have subsided, and I think he's probably got a good chance of at least taking a set off him. He knows that he can. He knows that he can beat him, and he has the last win on, admittedly, an outdoor hard court. So, but that was
an injured Federer.
But against an injured, there's a pattern emerging here. And of course, the real match of the day that we're not talking about is Cilic and Sock.
Yes.
Which I know that you're desperate to get up early to come and watch.
Yes. Well, I am looking forward to it in its own way, but it does feel slightly inconsequential at the minute. Yeah. I mean, Marin Cilic really, really has to win that match for his own sanity, if anything else. I mean, and his own belief at this tournament. I really hope. Cilic is a lovely guy. He makes a lot of time for everyone. It would be very nice. Not that Sock doesn't, but it'd be nice for Cilic as a kind of regular here to just get a good win under his belt, give himself a shot going into it. And you never know, if Federer beats Zverev easily, qualifies, he might ease up, give him a shot.
Maybe.
Probably not, but we'll see.
Okay, well, thank you for listening. You can join us tomorrow in Tournament in a Tea Break. Good night.